quiet today.
Welcome to the Titanic exhibition. No other ship in history has left such a mark on the world as the Titanic. At the time of its maiden voyage, it was the largest man-made moving object in history, featured cutting-edge maritime technology and architecture, and carried some of the most famous and wealthy people of its time. In this exhibition, you'll learn about the Titanic and the events of the 14th of April 1912, discover a selection of artifacts from the ship itself, and encounter some of the objects used by passengers and crew. Each object has been carefully chosen to tell a part of the Titanic's story, from its creation to life on board and to its eventual sinking. All of these artifacts have been placed together within a single room for the first time in over a century, to ensure you can experience the Titanic in a vivid and unique way.
Could you fetch me the boiler room schematics? Ah, I didn't see you there. We're hard at work getting the designs finished for a magnificent ship, the RMS Titanic. I can remember when it was announced, alongside its equally magnificent sister, the Olympic. It's not so long ago that ships like this were unimaginable. In the old days of sail power, only the rich took to the seas for luxury. Now there are millions crossing the ocean, and not just for a holiday. People want to leave behind the smoky and crowded cities of Europe for a better life in America. Cunard and White Star both want to build the best liners, but White Star reckons slow and steady wins the race. So they're making the Titanic and Olympic the largest and most luxurious the world has seen. Here in the drafting department, dozens of workmen have been designing the two ships. We've only 4 months to go, and Carlyle, the chief architect, has resigned. Andrews, the managing director, has stepped in to finish the job. I hope there's time.
Thomas Andrews was an industrious man with great responsibility. He was also immensely conscientious by all accounts. His notebooks make it clear that there should have been enough lifeboats for everyone, but the Board of Trade Laws of the time did not make it mandatory, and Andrews was overruled.
Oh, watch where you tread there. Someone's been leaving rivets lying around. Welcome to the Harland and Wolff shipyards. There's 15,000 of us hard at work building the Olympic and the Titanic side by side. If you're looking for a job here, you'll need an apprenticeship. If I think you're up to scratch, I can refer you. That's the only way to get in.
Aside from qualification barriers to working here, sectarian divisions in Northern Ireland at this time meant that the vast majority of workers in the shipyards were Protestant. Those few Catholics who did work for Harland and Wolff faced difficult working conditions and hostility from those around them.
I shouldn't think of it too long now before they're ready to launch. We have to get everything ready for the 31st of May. It's 1911 for you time travellers. We're putting the finishing touches to the paintwork. White Star Line service colours with a white superstructure, black hull and red anti-fouling below the waterline. Everyone in Belfast is very excited. Tickets have been sold to the launch and the money's going towards local charities. When the ship is let go, it'll slide down the slipway, all 772 feet of it, aided by 21 tons of soap and tallow. I imagine it'll be quite a party.
I hope you're careful with my bags. I can't begin to tell you how expensive the contents are. Oh, hello! I see you finally joined me. As you were coming through the double gangway doors, did you see if they were being careful with my luggage? Isn't this reception room wonderful? And such a fantastic view of the grand staircase. I'm told it measures more than 4,900 square feet. I adore that ornate candelabra and those wicker chairs, and palm trees almost make it seem as if we're in the tropics. Later on, we'll take the lift over there and explore some of the other decks. I am told the second-class entrance is onto an enclosed promenade leading to their staircase, less grand than ours, and their cabins. And, well, dare I mention, third class. They have to take a health inspection before boarding, and even take their own luggage. Apparently, men and women are segregated. Hello? Excuse me. Could you help me? I'm supposed to be meeting a friend at the ground staircase, but I can't seem to find her.
Of course, madam. But that may prove challenging. The forward grand staircase extends across several decks, and there's also the aft grand staircase.
This will be interesting. She did say meet at the clock below the dome.
That will be A deck. You should see a clock flanked by two carved figures. At the foot of the stairs is a bronze cherub sculpture holding an illuminated torch.
Thank you so much. I shall venture up that way.
20 feet wide and lavish in design, it was one of the most opulent spaces on board. Each staircase was built of solid Irish oak, and each banister contained elaborate designs in the Louis XIV style. Presiding above you would have been an impressive dome of iron and glass, fringed with delicately moulded plaster and supporting a huge crystal and gilt chandelier. A second, smaller, but still ornate grand staircase was located to the aft of the ship between the third and fourth funnels. Whereas the forward grand staircase allowed travel between A and E decks, the aft only crossed decks A to C. Keep an eye out in the exhibition for the largest surviving fragment of this staircase.
Dearest Arthur, I'm having a marvelous time aboard the Titanic. I could devote much time to this letter, but I shall tell you all on my return. Presently, I'm in the reading and writing room on A deck. This is just along from the grand staircase, where I found myself somewhat lost earlier, before a steward assisted me. Around me is the most spectacular plasterwork, as well as columns and a marble fireplace. I think I may have to find some of the pink silk curtains for our drawing room. I hope all is well.
Oh, I'm so very sorry to interrupt. Would you happen to know where the letters are posted?
Yes, of course. There are letterboxes throughout the ship. You shan't miss them.
This lobster's absolutely delicious, and actually hot. Most ships I've been on struggle to keep the food anything above tepid. I think it helps that the kitchen is closer to the restaurant.
Not sure. I'm not wholly fond of crustaceans.
I think we ought to have eaten in the main dining room. Why did it feel so much calmer there?
That's because it's the center of the ship. Less rolling motion from the CEO chap.
Not to look ahead to future dining, but apparently at breakfast there are 4 types of egg, 3 types of potato, and smoked salmon?
And cheese for lunch. Don't forget the cheese, English, and French.
First-class passengers could enjoy refreshments ranging from full meals to a light afternoon tea in a variety of establishments on board. Here in the a la carte restaurant, they were offered a more upmarket experience. It was run by Luigi Gatti and his team of expert chefs.
Daddy, why must we be in second class?
Now. We're very lucky to be here. Think of all the delicious food we've had. Haddock, chicken, lamb, turkey, plum pudding.
And, Daddy, why are the chairs a funny shape?
Well now, imagine we were in a storm. The curved sides hug you so you don't fall out of the chair.
Located on Titanic's D-deck, just above the kitchens, the second-class dining room could seat all 564 second-class passengers in a single seating. Decorated in an early English style, with oakwood panelling throughout, passengers were seated at rows of long tables with revolving chairs that were bolted to the floor.
tea, madam. Earl Grey.
Thank you. No milk and just a slice of lemon.
Certainly, madam.
I must say, this room is the finest lounge I've ever seen. Never mind on a ship. Could you tell me what time it's open until?
The lounge is open from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. There will be music performed later, a string ensemble in fact.
If you could explore the lounge today, you'd be quickly impressed by its sheer opulence. Its oak panelling was embellished with detailed relief in floral, shell, and musical themes. And at its centre was a vast chandelier lit by 49 crystal lights.
Oi, mind if I join you?
Not at all. Be my guest.
Cheers. How's the wife and children getting on?
They're fine, aye. It's a shame I can't sit with them, though. No matter. At least the food's pretty decent. Better than we have back home.
Oh, you have to try the roast beef.
Third-class passengers, or steerage as they were also known, experienced relative luxury compared to many of their lives back at home. The third-class dining room was segregated by a bulkhead, with women and children on one side and men on another. The austere room was without upholstery, decorated in white paint and with wooden slatting.
I'm so glad to be in warm water. It's terribly cold outside.
First-class passengers could enjoy a respite from the cold air of the North Atlantic with a heated saltwater swimming pool. At this time, only the Olympic had another pool of this kind. Like many facilities, it was segregated between men and women at different times of day. We can be certain, of course, that the pool is still full of water.
Alan, could you help me remove this necklace and place it in the box in the dresser over there? Right away, ma'am. Thank you very much. I think I'll be sleeping well tonight. Socializing on land is one thing, but at sea, I'm almost forced to. At least the cabin is comfortable. They have put in so much effort into the design. I'd love a dresser like this one at home.
There was a range of different accommodation available on the Titanic, depending on your class and how much you were willing to pay. Some of the staterooms were vast and apartment-like, while the third-class accommodation crammed 6 to 8 people into a single room in bunk beds.
How long on the beef?
Be 5 minutes to plate, chef.
Mind the cupboard doors. We're not going to replace that at sea.
The galley was a hive of activity on D-deck. Close to both first and second class dining rooms, it could get hot food to service very fast. It was equipped with high-tech devices, including electric toasters and sorbet makers, and it employed more than 60 chefs and assistants.
How many potatoes did you say we had on board?
Oh, not many. Only 40 tons.
Oh, it's really rather cold. I'm not sure I'm willing to sit still in a deck chair.
Well, you could rent a blanket. And I've heard the stewards can bring us out tea, coffee, hot chocolate, perhaps even some bullion.
I could still have those inside, where I'd be less cold. But my doctor says taking in the fresh air is good for me.
Much of the wreckage that survives of the Titanic is fragments of its deck chairs. This is partly thanks to enterprising passengers and crew who tried to use them as flotation aids during the sinking. This meant they were retrieved from the surface of the sea in the days after, rather than from the bottom of the ocean. As the Titanic raced through the North Atlantic at a speed of 20.5 knots, weather conditions were good with a clear, moonless sky and still waters. At 23:39 p.m., On the evening of the 14th of April 1912, lookouts Frederick Fleet and Reginald Lee were in the crow's nest 29 metres above the deck. Looming out of the darkness ahead, Fleet spotted an iceberg directly in the Titanic's path. He immediately sprang into action. He rang the lookout bell 3 times and then telephoned the bridge below. 6th Officer James Moody picked up at the other end. Fleet asked, "Is there anyone there?" Moody replied, "Yes, what do you see?" Fleet replied with, "Iceberg, right ahead." Moody relayed the message to Murdoch, who ordered Quartermaster Robert Hitchens to change the ship's course, but it was already too late. At 11:40 p.m., the Titanic struck the iceberg on the starboard side, popping rivets and peeling hull plates apart alongside 300 feet of the ship. Sailing from New York to Fiume, now Rijeka, Croatia, the Carpathia was carrying 473 passengers and 240 crew members, of which a quarter were Croatian sailors. On the night of the 14th of April, the Carpathia's wireless operator, Harold Cottam, had already finished his shift for the night, but was staying up a little later to listen for messages. At 12:11 a.m., he received a distress signal from the Titanic, stating that it had struck an iceberg and was in need of urgent assistance. Cottam took the message and coordinates to the bridge, where the officers on watch were initially skeptical about the seriousness of the Titanic's distress call. Agitated, Cottam rushed down the ladder to the captain's cabin and awakened Captain Rostron. Once he learned about the seriousness of the message, he immediately sprang into action and gave the order to turn the ship around. With the ship's heating and hot water cut off to make as much steam as possible available for the engines, the Carpathia raced through the darkness towards the Titanic's last reported position. It arrived around 4 a.m., approximately an hour and a half after the Titanic went down. For the next 4.5 hours, the ship took on the 706 survivors from the Titanic's lifeboats. Throughout the rescue, the Carpathia's own passengers assisted in any way that they could, offering warm food, beverages, blankets, and much-needed words of comfort. Although the Titanic sank over a century ago, its story is not over. The impact it has had on culture and society cannot truly be measured. From films, art and books, to maritime technology, engineering and science, it is undeniable that the Titanic continues to make its mark.